Curiosity is the key for learning, but we need to be curious to challenge what we're listening to. We shouldn't be curious about, say, for example, how to become skinnier, prettier, wealthier. Like, don't be curious to fall into what society says. Be curious to ask, why the hell does society say that in the first place? That's the ultimate curiosity, is to disrupt and deconstruct what we've been raised with, what has been the intellectual food and the emotional food that culture and your caregivers have been giving you since you were young. Can you look at that and deconstruct that? And don't take it at face value. Dare to challenge, why is this on my plate in the first place? Who said that? Why is that a rule? And that is where you become really brave. If you're curious about how to do more of what culture's told you, that's only being a follower. Real curiosity is to challenge the systems in place and to look at them for their farce. And most of them are farcical and lies. And they're not truly upholding of our deepest yearnings as a human being, which is to be authentic, to be connected, to be seen, to be valued, not for our looks, our money, our cars, our achievements. Our greatest yearning is to be seen for who it is we are. And yet most of us don't allow ourselves to see another for who it is they are. We keep piling on these belief systems. So if society says, as we know, we need to be high achieving, have a lot of money, be part of the crowd, be famous. And if we're curious to do those things, meaning, how can I be more famous? How can I follow society's ways? How can I be richer? That is not the true maverick curiosity. That's falling in line and following what culture says. True curiosity is to say, why the hell are we talking about this in the first place? Where did this come from? And to really examine the roots of all the belief systems. So a lot of my work is challenging culture's paradigms and dismantling them.
This has been my passion since the age of 9. Obviously starting to play basketball, learn basketball, seeing where basketball has taken me, going to the Olympic Games. Who would have dreamt I went to 1 Olympic Games? Not everyone gets to do that. I went to 4. It's just blown away. I love the competitiveness of everything. But I think you have to, it's like I said, the curiosity is more, it's continue to learn. I always wanted to be the best player I could be, not be better than my teammate or someone else, but trying to learn from others how they do things, asking questions, finding mentors. I think that's critical for anyone's development at any level. I think mentors that can help you along the way, because it's not just a physical thing that we do with basketball. There's the mental part, the emotional part, the physiological stuff that we all have to learn to be the very best we can be. And, I've got to know a lot of different people, and the curiosity part comes from just digging, asking them questions. How? Like that is, and that's why I loved Aleda, because it's fantastic just because we had so many different leaders that you could just connect with. And I've had Zooms, I love just reaching out to them and just digging deeper in how they do things. And regardless if it was in the NFL, the NRL, the AFL, just coaches. And I love that we wanted to share and help each other, and because we can all learn from each other. Because in business world too, because leadership is not just in sports. You see leaderships, because it's all about developing a culture where you can actually grow the most. And I'm massive on that. It's not just what you do in practice. I'm really big on, let's build the right culture. What kind of team do we want to be, and how are we going to get there?
I'm someone who loved being a student, and it's sort of you get to the point you're not doing formal education in the same way, but you're meeting new people that you learn from if you let yourself. And I think that goes back to understanding a bit more about the kind of person that you are. And I think that my curiosity about people and places is really sort of the theme of my life. And I often think that if I didn't take on some of the jobs that I have now, that I'd love to go work on a PhD in something, because everything is just wonderfully, I'm curious about it. It's just a wonderful experience to meet someone new, to get the new ideas, and whether I'm sort of more in the arts kind of thing rather than science, but I can be fascinated by science too. But I just think to meet someone who writes something wonderfully, or a musician who does something that creates beauty in the world, and how little we know, or how little I know about that whole process and who these people are, and more sometimes this information overload is how many people are doing things out there that would be exciting if we knew more about it. And so every day I learn something new from someone or about someone. So I think that means you're never stale, that means you never feel like you've arrived, and that you can continue to be excited about new experiences.
I don't know if Ted Lasso has taken off in Australia like it has in the States, but there's that one episode, where he talks about being curious, not judgmental. I just thought that was a great line, and it describes to me so much about leadership, to be curious, not judgmental. And one of the problems, I think, with our current world is because we're so polarized. Most people in one faction have a lot of judgments about people in the other faction. Or if we just want to talk about politics, conservatives have a lot of judgments they make about progressives, and vice versa. And I think those who exercise leadership suspend their judgments and don't let themselves get emotionally triggered by that rhetoric. And they instead get very curious about why somebody's doing what they're doing and how they might engage with that person to help them maybe do something different. Curiosity feels like a key ingredient to me for exercising effective leadership.